Hello everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining about interval timers of Unix system programming. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. To get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon. And please don't forget to like the video and please don't forget to share the video with your friends. So let me begin the explanation of interval timers. Right? What is the interval timer? So I can use an alarm API to set up an interval timer in a process. For example, if you want to do some task within a specific time, if you want to do some task, right, in a specific interval, you can do that using this interval timer. So this interval timer can be used to schedule a process to do some task at fixed time interval. For example, if I want to do some task between 5 to 10 minutes, I can use this interval timer to set the interval time for 10 minutes. I can do whatever the task I want in the 10 minutes. Right? I can specify the range. I can specify that interval using this interval timer. Why I can do this? I can do this to do some task at a fixed time, right? Or if I want to limit the time allowed for the execution of task, I can use this. Suppose if you want to complete your task within a stipulated amount of time, you can do that. For example, assume that if I want to do some task in 10 seconds, I can specify the interval using this interval timer. That means within the 10 seconds the process should be completed. So I can do that also. If I want to limit the time also, I can do that using this interval timer. Right? How you can set this interval timer in a process means you can use a alarm API. So if you want to know more about alarm API, the explanation of the alarm API is in the playlist Unix system programming. You can go through that video, right? So this following program illustrates how to set up a real-time clock interval timer using the alarm API. So in this program, I am setting a interval timer using the alarm API. So you can see here, I am using a header file unistd.h, signal.h and stdio.h, and I have to define the interval. So how I am defining the constant? Interval is a constant. I am defining the interval. What is the interval? 5 seconds. What is the interval? 5 seconds. You can see here the program, the SIG action API is called to set up call me as the signal handling function for the SIG alarm signal. Because when the SIG alarm signal, I have to take some action, right? How I can do that means using the SIG action API. The SIG action API is called to set up call me as the signal handling function for the SIG alarm signal. You can see there. So you know that the execution starts from the main. That's why I'm starting from the main. So SIG action, you are defining the action. So that is the first statement. You can see I'm starting from the main. So here I have defined the interval, right? What is the interval size? 5 seconds. I will explain that. So you can see here, first I will start from the main. So I am specifying the SIG action API. So SIG action API I am specifying. Why I have to use this means you know that for every signal if some action needs to be taken. Here what I am doing means when an alarm signal is generated, some action should be taken, right? To tell that I am doing this. SIG action API is called to set up call me as the signal handling function for the SIG alarm signal. You can see there, you can see here. Call me. So I am assigning this call me function to as a handler. When a SIG alarm is generated, this call me function should handle that. Hope you are understanding. Right? Then the program then invokes the alarm API to send itself the SIG alarm signal after 5 real clock seconds. right? You can see I defined the interval 5 here, right? It's going to do some scheduled task within that interval. After that, it can do its normal operation. After that, it can do its normal operation. But within that interval amount, within that time in the interval, it can do some scheduled task. How we are doing this? Using the alarm API. You can see there. Using the alarm API, you are sending a signal to the interval. So that means what is the value you are defined in the interval 5? For 5 seconds, you are going to do that scheduled task. You can see the program then invokes the alarm API to send itself the SIG alarm signal. You are sending the SIG alarm signal to do some specific task for 5 real clock seconds. After that, after doing some scheduled clock, right? After doing some scheduled task, the program do normal operation. See, you are calling that call me function, right? You are calling. See, call me function. You are calling here using the signal number. So once you call the signal using call me function, it will do the scheduled task. After the scheduled task is completed, again it will come here. So it will check whether the error is there, whether signal alarm is generated. If the signal alarm is not generated, it will return error, or else you can see in a else statement, it will do normal operation. Hope you are understanding. So the program do normal operation once the scheduled task is done. The program is going to do normal operation. And when that in an infinite loop, normal operation is done in an infinite loop. You can see here, normal operation is done in a infinite loop. That's why. Hope you are understanding. And when the timer expires, the call me function is invoked, which restarts the alarm clocks for another 5 seconds and then does the scheduled tasks. Understanding? When the timer expires, the call me function is invoked. Again, when the timer is expired, the call me function again is going to invoke this, and again it's going to do the scheduled tasks. Hope you're understanding. This repeats, right? When the call me function returns, the program continues its normal operation until another timer expiration. Hope you're understanding. 5 seconds it will do a scheduled task, then it will continue with the normal operation. Again it will call it after the timer is expired. Again after that it will do the normal operation. Again it will call the timer. This process goes on repeating. So for 5 seconds you are going to do the scheduled task. After that, normal operation. When the call me function returns. After that, again until the timer expiration, it will do the normal operation. After that, it will again invoke the alarm API. Again, you can do the task for 5 seconds. Scheduled tasks. Simple. Right, hope you are understanding, guys. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section, right? And BSD Unix invented the set timer API, which provides capabilities additional to those of the alarm API. The set timer, why it is used means the set timer resolution time is in microseconds, but alarm is in seconds. So if you want to set the time in microseconds, you can use set timer, right? And also the alarm API can be used to set up real-time clock timer per process. The set timer API can be used to define up to 3 different types of timers in a process. So the alarm API can be used to set up real-time clock, but set timer API can be used to define 3 different types of timers. What are those 3 different types of timers? As the alarm API, here also you can set the real-time clock timer, Along with that, other two also can be set in the set timer API. What is that? Timer based on the user time spent by a process. Timer based on the total user and system time spent by a process. First, you can set the real-time clock, same as your alarm API. Along with that, other two options are there. There is timer based on the user time spent by a process. Based on that also, you can set the timer, and also timer based on the total user and system time. By considering both that, you can set the timer. By considering both the total user and system time spent by a process also, you can set the timer. So these are the other two choices. And the get timer API is also defined in BSD and the system v Unix. Why? Why means for users to query the timer values. If you want to know what is the actual values of a timer, you can do that using the get timer API. For example, for the fetch timer and the get timer function, prototypes are, right? You can see these are the prototypes, right? So you can see here. So what are the arguments? What are the arguments here? So for the set timer, you need a old value, right? You can use a timer value also, and you are using a which also, which argument in set timer also, get timer also. Here also you are using a old value of the interval to get the timer value. See, I will explain this. The which argument specify which timer to process. The possible values are, a process can have different timers, different timers. If you want to tell which timer value you want, you can see timer real one possible value for which argument. Timer based on real time clock generates a signal alarm signal when expires. Timer virtual means timer based on user time spent by a process. Timer PRYF means timer based on a total user and system time spent by a process. I already told you these three cases, right? So which timer is going to tell what type of timer you are going to use for the process. If it's a real time clock, the first argument. If it's a timer based on the user time spent by a process, that is second virtual. And third one is a prof, timer based on a total user and system time spent by a process. This which argument is going to be used for that, and this old value and the new value is used to set the timer. Based on the old value, you can set the another new value. If you want to know the timer values in the get timer, you can use the old argument, old value. Hope you are understanding. You can see used a timer value, right? Here also I used this. So what it contains actually, you can see it contains interval and value. So interval contains the timer interval. So value contains the current value. For example, if your timer value is for 5 seconds, if a time elapsed is 3 seconds, what is the current value? 3 seconds, like that. Total value is what? 5 seconds. Those details, right, will be there in the timer interval and the current value. Hope you are understanding, guys. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. And one more important thing, for set timer API, the value is the time to set the named timer, and the value interval is the time to reload the timer when it expires. So don't get confused here. So see here, for set timer API, we have two arguments, right? Value dot it underscore value. Why we are going to use that? See here, value underscore this one and this one. Why? So value it underscore value is the time to set the named timer. If you want to set the timer for some seconds, you can do that based on that. And the value underscore value it underscore interval is the time to reload the timer. If you want to reload the timer when it expires, you can do that using this one, interval. So getting, guys, interval is mainly used to set the timer for some particular interval. to set the timer for some particular interval. This value is used when you want to reload the timer. Hope you are understanding. Based on that only here I can set the timer. These values, old, new values will be defined here. You can set the interval and you can reload your timer based on the particular value. Next, this interval value may be set to 0 if the timer is to run only once, and if the value .it value is set to 0, it stops the name of timer if it is running. Obviously this value, interval value is set to 0 if you want to run the timer only once. If this value is 0, if the timer is running, obviously the timer is going to stop, because interval value is 0, the timer will not run. For get timer API, you have used this old value. Why? What is the use of it? The get timer API, the old .it underscore value and the old .it underscore interval return the name of timer's remaining time. Obviously, if you want to know the remaining time of a particular time of a particular timer, you can do that using these values. Right? Hope you understand. And the old argument of the set timer API is like the old argument of the get timer API. So in a set timer API also you have used a old value, right? Why you are using? If you want to set the timer, for if you want to set the interval based on the old value, you can set the interval, right? If it is for example, when you want to reload the timer, you need the old value. For 5 seconds, if your timer is run, then you have to reload the timer from 6 seconds. That's why you need the old value. Hope you are understanding, guys. Here in the get timer API also you need the old value, right? Because based on the old value only you can calculate the remaining time. For example, if value is 10 seconds and the 5 seconds is elapsed, 5 seconds is the old value and the remaining 5 seconds is the new value. You need that, right? Right? And you don't want to drag this, and both the APIs, whatever the APIs we have used here, get timer or set timers, they are going to return 0 on success or -1 if they fail, right? And one more important thing, whatever the timer is going to be set using this set timer API is used by only the process that used the set timer API. Only the process that used the set timer API, right? That process is going to use this, and the child process of that particular parent process not going to use this set timer API. Only the process that is created the set timer API, only the process that's created the interval using the set timer API is going to use that. No other process, no other child process of this parent process is not going to use this API, right? This is the following program. It's a simple program, right? So you can see here. So if you are doing this program illustrates the set timer API. So it's a very simple program. You can see here you are setting the interval 2. So for the 2 seconds it will do the scheduled tasks. You know that. After that it will reload it. You know that it will reload the timer again for 2 seconds, right? You can see here, you can see the interval value. So right, you can see very simple. So 1 second, see, you can set the interval. You are setting the interval in value. What is the value? Seconds. Starting, what is the starting value of the interval? 0. Right? Hope you are understanding. Whatever this call me function is used. Call me function, you can see, is used when you want to call the particular interval timer. So whatever the interval, for 2 seconds you can do some task, After 2 seconds again you have to reload the interval timer, you know that. And you are defining the value for the interval. The interval values will be in seconds. As you can see, restart. Why I am restarting it? I have to restart the interval again after every 2 seconds. That's why I am using a restart. So value, right? So interval value will be 0, starts from 0, and it will be for 2 seconds. And what is that measure? What is the unit you are using for the time? That is a second. Right? After that the timer will do normal operation, you know that. Once the timer is reset, it will do the scheduled task. When it is not doing the scheduled task, it will continue with the normal operation, right? So one more important thing, the set timer and alarm API require that user set up signal handling to catch the timer expiration. They should not be used in conjunction with sleep API. Right? If you are using set timer or set timer, right? You need or alarm API, both set timer or alarm API, they need a signal handling to catch the timer expiration. So you can't use this set timer and alarm API in conjunction. Don't do that. Modification may happen. Either use a set timer or either use alarm API. Both of them need to do some signal handling to catch the timer expiration. So how we are handling this timer expiration? Here you are using call me function to catch the timer expiration. When the timer is expired, you are going to call the call me function. You can see you are calling the call me function. You have specified the function in the handler. Whenever the signal is called, either using a set time or alarm API, this function will be called. What is that? The call me function. So you can do the scheduled task for the amount of time that is specified in the interval. Don't do that set timer and the alarm API. Don't use that set timer and the alarm API in conjunction. Use any one of them, right? Use any one at a time, either set time or alarm API. Thank you guys. Hope you understood the concept. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you.